All right. Shalom, Akim starts the lesson. Doing to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh by Hashem Shai by Hashem Kakodesh. The morning star bosses, the elders of great mills, and taught us his truth. Peace and blessing to the sincere Akims. Let's push this truth and all truth and sincerity. And the four corners of the earth to the Jaleel to Asher Shalom. Okay, the brother Uriah Ariyah from the Great Muslim Mighty Camp. And come back to the spirit power Yahweh by Hashem Shai to make another lesson. Okay, in this lesson, I'm going into why we need the kingdom and why we need to be delivered from this wicked place. Because this is just a post that was sent, on Instagram. Okay, and it says Bill Gates Foundation is set to launch the world's first contraceptive that will prevent pregnancy for 8 years in Kenya. So ultimately understanding that this devil wants to make a contraceptive, okay, to put in, our people, because Jake is scattered. All right, but ultimately, why, he wants to depopulate the earth. Okay, and that, and by having that contraceptive for 8 years, that means that, the female will not be able to bear seed because of this contraceptive pill, man. All right, showing you how wicked these devils are, man. Okay, they want, their whole agenda is, to bring the population down. All right, as we've seen the Georgia Guidestones. All right, Esau wants to depopulate the earth. Okay, but ultimately why? Because he thinks he's the most high, man. You know, Esau put this devil in rulership. Okay, and this devil is just getting a whole, getting over himself, man. All right, here it is. The Lord is putting you as rulership, in rulership to rule. But you are overdoing it, man. That's why the Lord is coming back to take you out of power, and that's ultimately why we need the kingdom, man. Okay, Scripture says, if the Lord didn't spare the time, there will be no elect to be saved. All right, that's that's because of how this devil operates, man. Okay, how he works. All right, he's gonna he already had plans with the CV19. Okay, he said that if they do a good job with those vaccines, all right, then they will that would help with depopulation. Okay, and look at this devil smile, man. Okay, that shows you what the scripture say too. Even in scripture, even though his even though his words are smooth as butter, but war was in his heart, man. Okay, war is in this devil's mind, man. He wants to delete a lot of you Israelites off the face of the earth, and he is going to. Okay, but he just wants to continue in his more wickedness, man. All right, starting with the depopulation. Okay, but I had a few precepts lined up that was further edify the point. No one is edifying. It says Proverbs 4 and verse 16. Verse 4, and it says, "For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall." And in the NLT it says, "For evil people can't sleep until they've done their evil deed for the day." And who was that? That's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, he cannot sleep, until in his mind he done did some wicked shit to who, to the people. Most, prominently, okay, you Israelites, okay, you blacks, natives, and Latinos. All right, and it says they can't rest until they have done someone to stubble. Who's that one they cause stubble? They're not causing the Moab stubble. All right, they're not causing all these other nations, these heathens to stubble. They causing all people to stubble. All right, look where Jake is located. Look how targeted our people are. All right, look at the things set in place for Jake not to succeed. I understand we under the curses, but scripture say that he forwarded the affliction. There's certain things that he did that he didn't have to do. Okay, these are all things that he do. Okay, showing you how the mindset of the so-called white man. Okay, unless he has done any wickedness, he does not have any rest, man. Showing you that we ultimately need the kingdom. All right, we need the kingdom of Yahweh Hashem Shai, man. Okay, continuing on. This is Psalms 83, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "Keep not thy silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power, O Lord. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult; they that hate thee have lifted up the head." That's right, man. They that hate thee, who hates us? So-called white man. All right, and it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And that's right, man. And it says they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may not be no more in remembrance." All right, so that's the plan of this so-called white man. Okay, he wants to eradicate, all the Israelites off the face of the earth because he thinks that if he does that, the prophecy is not gonna come to pass. But that's not true, man. Okay, the elect are going to escape your wicked judgments. Okay, and all these things, man. And it says they have taken crafty counsel, and that's right, man. When they have these world economic meetings and they having these government official meetings to make new laws. Okay, these laws go against Jake, man. All right, Section 8, all right, child support, all these things go against Jake, man. All right, he put Jake in the worst hoods. All right, all these things are against our people, man. Okay, and as you can see now with Trump, all right, he's militarizing the National Guard in D.C., man. All right, Jake already at the bottom as it is, and then this devil's making it only worse, man. And then now he's talking about making a contraceptive that should not make able to conceive for 8 years. Okay, you don't see him doing that type of thing, that type of fucking um that type of trial in Europe, man. No, but guess why? Guess where he had to choose Kenya. All right, where Jake be at, where it's predominantly Jake, man. All right, you may have other Hamites there, but there's Israelites that may be living in Kenya, man. Okay, he's coming for the Israelites. All right, continuing on. This is Ecclesiasticus 14 and verse 9, and it says, a covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion. And who's a covetous man's eye? Okay, someone that's always wanting others, man, being covetous. Esau wants what we have, man. Esau wants our salt, okay, our melanin. That's why it's priced so high. Okay, he wants our woman. Okay, Lord gave you the fatness of the earth, but yet you're not satisfied, man. You still want to terrorize Jake, man. All right, and it says, and the iniquity of the wicked dried up his soul, and that's right, man. Okay, the iniquity of the wicked dried up his soul, man. Okay, this so-called white man, this devil. All right, that's ultimately why the Lord got to come and destroy this devil and take him out of power, man. All right, seeing the things that he's about to do or planning to do or already doing. All right, the Lord has to come back and save us, man. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus. Let me see. Let's see. Precept I want to match with the. We get Proverbs 10 and verse 2, and it says, "The wicked in his pride doeth prosecute the poor." Who's at the bottom of the map? Okay, you Jakes, you Israelites, man. Okay, let them have taken in the device that they have imagined. Okay, and that's what Esau likes to do, man. Okay, prosecute the poor, and that's why he's over there in Kenya trying to make those contraceptive pills, man. For 8 years, not conceiving, man, because he don't want no more of you, of Jake being populated. All right, and that's ultimately why we gonna need the kingdom, man, because in the kingdom we gonna live forever, okay, and we gonna have our kids in peace, okay. They're not gonna be gonna have to worry about Esau trying to put these unrighteous decrees and contraceptive pills and stuff like that. No, man, we are going to be repopulating the earth, man, okay, in all righteousness, okay. Lord knows edify. Title lesson is going to be, all right, we need the kingdom, man. All right, ultimately why? Because this devil, if he rules any longer, things are going to get even worse, man. Okay, that's why we hasten the day of Yahweh Shemar try to come take the devil out of power, all right, and set up Yahweh Shai, to rule, okay, and put peace on earth, okay. And long as edify with that, I do want to give all praise and honor glory to Yahweh Shemar Yahweh Shai by Shem Kakodash. That one to our apostle, elder, great Muslim that taught us his truth. Peace and blessings to the sincere alchemists. With that, I want to say shalom.